But the morning of Sunday, August 30th, 2020, day 7 of my canoe trip. We're moving on. Got up about 5:45 this morning. It's just coming up on 8:30 right now. I didn't take any video this morning or anything. I just had breakfast, had oatmeal this morning, so it took me a little bit longer than if I'd stopped for, or if I just had granola. But this should be a fairly short day. Going to be paddling the length of Winchell Lake, and then I'll have 3 portages to do. It's supposed to be mostly sunny today. Actually, it started out that way. I think this is just morning moisture rising that it's getting right now. Mostly sunny. Winds from the southeast at 10 miles an hour, increasing to 15 this afternoon. And heading mostly east today. The north shore of Winchell got hit pretty badly in the windstorm of 1999. It was still pretty bare up there. And my brother and I came through in 2002, I think it was. So it's nice to see so much recovery over there now. It's looking much greener. Still a few old dead trees standing up above the canopy, but well, it's 10 o'clock, so it means an hour and a half paddling down the length of Winchell, and finally at the portage landing. Pretty decent landing on this end. If I remember correctly, it's a mess on the other end, marshy mess, but yeah, we made it this far. My spot is out of energy. Got to replace those batteries. It's time for my mid-morning snack. I have to take care of that. But first of all, I gotta get things up out of the canoe onto the shore here. Away we go. Well, it's tough loading here. With 30 logs that were supposed to help, in the end we're getting in the way. Now we have just a little bit of marsh paddling before we get out into Gaskin. Okay, next up is a 102 rod portage into Horseshoe. It looks like I'm going to have a little bit of a wait. There's a big party just launching from the looks of it. Hopefully they're just launching. If they're landing, then I've got an even bigger plate.
He's got his own camera.
He's got his, yep. Spowell, you were on YouTube. Yep. Looks like I got a little bit of a wait because there's 3 canoes just landing from the looks of it. And they're not being very speedy about it either. So this is the 102 rod portage. Unfortunately, my battery died before I even got halfway across that portage. So now out on Horseshoe Lake. It's about 12:30. So time for lunch. Last time for lunch. Lots of people on the portage. There was one couple just came off the portage just as I was paddling up to it. And there was a party with 3 canoes just starting the portage. They were kind enough to, they were double portaging, so by the time I got out of the water, they were back for their second load. They had a couple free hands, so they were kind enough to take some of my excess baggage with them on the way back. I really appreciate that. And when I got to this end of the portage, there were a couple of young guys just landing. So one of them lent me a hand loading my canoe, holding the canoe while I loaded it, which is always appreciated. I've often mentioned that the hardest part about soloing is getting through some of these landings, both starting a portage and ending a portage. And this one here at the horseshoe end is particularly tough. Sharp drop off with a few boulders to balance on. We're going down the southeast arm of Horseshoe Lake now. Coming up to the 21 rod portage into Vista. As bad as that last portage landing was, I know the next two are going to be tougher. And right there is the portage. Well, maybe that's the portage. Looks like a tree has come down. Oh, I bet you we go to the left. Yeah, we go to the left. There's the portage. Oh, this is a tough landing. Really rocky. There's a little bit of water coming through there, but usually it's a better waterfall than that, more spectacular. Well, I'm on Vista Lake. 3 campsites on the lake. The one in the center of the lake was taken. The one heading down towards Misqua was just being taken, just being occupied. So I had to turn around, come back, going all the way down the northwest arm here to check out the final campsite. If that's taken, I don't know what I'm going to do. There is one campsite on Misqua. There's no way I'm going back to Horseshoe. I'm not going over that portage again. And then having to turn around and do it again. After Misqua, there's that 248 killer portage. I definitely don't want to be doing that at the end of the day. I just hope, no matter what this site is like up here, that it's vacant. It's the most remote site on the lake anyway. I really thought once I got to Vista, I wouldn't have campsite problems. At least the wind is at my back for a change. However, if this campsite is occupied and I have to move on to Misqua, I gotta paddle all the way back into this wind. Well, here it is, right at the end of the lake. Even further down the lake than what the map showed. Looks like it's pretty enclosed. But it's unoccupied. Not the best of landings in the world. Yeah. It's pretty spongy underneath. There's the landing. Here's the way up to the campsite. One usable tent pad down here. Might be where my tarp goes. Here's the kitchen area. Pretty rotten looking kitchen area. Looks like a tent pad back up here though. Yeah. That presumably is the latrine trail. Actually, I think the other tent area looked a little bit better. Not a very good site, but since both the other ones are taken, not much I can do about it. Lots and lots and lots of rocks. Well, all I can do is start unloading the canoe and get camp set up. Well, this site definitely gets a 1 rating, possibly even a 0. It didn't even have room to set up my tent properly. And there are a couple of rocks under there where I do have it set up. I don't know where I'm going to get fresh water for cooking. I'm not even sure I want to use my filter on this stuff. It's just everywhere there's water access, it's weed filled and horrible. Jumble of rocks. I'll be lucky if I get out of here with my ankles intact. See, there's the other potential water access, but again, it's all weedy. Kitchen area definitely isn't anything to write home about. I put up my tarp here. Again, it's another tent pad, but it's even smaller than the one I'm using. The train trail goes up here. You almost need crampons and picks. Make your way up the hill. The latrine is right here. Not very far back. I'm gonna see if I get some supper going pretty soon here. And it's 10 to 5, so I'm not doing too bad. Except I gotta figure out where I'm gonna get water from. In the middle of lake country. I can't figure out where I'm gonna get water. Oh, how ironic. Okay, show you what I did today. I started out from this campsite here. Now the other night I think I said I was at that campsite. I wasn't, I was at this one here. With that little bay there. Actually the campsite is more on this point here. Anyway, I started out from there. Paddled down the length of Winchell Lake. That's what, about starting there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 miles. Took me about an hour and a half to do that. Then I took this 60 rod portage into Gaskin. This is where it's that muddy, icky landing on the Gaskin end. Came around and down through Gaskin here and did this 102 rod portage. This is where there was almost a traffic jam, people coming and going, but the net result was that I got help. People took my extra stuff over this way, and I had a guy hold my canoe for me while I loaded on this end. Then I had a quick lunch break down this end of Horseshoe. Came up. Both of these sites were empty. I thought about this site here. I've been wanting to stay at for a long time, and it's always been full when I've come through. Well, it was finally empty today. I was very, very, very tempted to take it, but I really wanted to get to Vista. So I came down and did this 21 rod portage. That it's a tough landing on both ends, and it's very rocky. The landing itself, or the portage itself, is very rocky, and especially the southern end here is really, really tough. So I got out into Vista Lake. At that time I was feeling pretty good, and I came paddling down. I was starting to get my mind together. Came paddling down. This site was taken. Didn't see the people there or the canoes, but I saw the tents. So then I paddled on down and got about halfway to this campsite here that's just barely showing. I'd have to open up the map to show it, but there's a campsite right here that I got halfway to, and there was a canoe and a couple of people that pulled in there. And I don't know if it was these people from here just down there exploring the site, checking it out, or whether it was people that came up from the next lake down, which is Misqua, that just arrived. And but with the wind and everything, I wasn't about to paddle all the way down there to find out. So I have no idea where the people were from this site, and that's what makes me wonder if they were actually down there, although they might have taken a day trip somewhere too. So then I paddled all the way back and all the way down, and I'm at this campsite here, if you want to call it a campsite. Okay, tonight's going to be lasagna with meat sauce. Always a favorite. Always a pick-me-up. And I definitely need a pick-me-up. So, I decided to have this one tonight. And it should be strong enough to mask the swamp water that I'm having to use. Even with swamp water. Well, it's about 20 to 8. You probably hear the dripping on the tent. It actually started raining at about 6:30 this morning. I slept pretty well last night until about 4 o'clock, and I woke up and started thinking and wondering about getting up and moving on and whatever. Ended up taking a nature call at 5 o'clock. Came back to bed. Like I said, it started raining about 6:30. Now it's just kind of dripping. Not too bad. So I don't know. still kind of wait and see what happens today, but I think I'm stuck here. I did manage to get two batteries charged up yesterday, but the cost is that the power pack is back to zippo. So all those gains I made with a little bit of sunshine the last few days have disappeared. So and of course no charging today, at least as long as this keeps up. At this campsite it's really hard to find a sunny spot even if the sun did shine. So anyway, I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna have a hot breakfast this morning, oatmeal, and unfortunately I gotta still use swamp water. The water here is probably my biggest concern. I mean, it's a crappy site, but if I could just get some decent water off the site, it would be better. I did filter some last night, put some lemonade powder in, took a drink. No, the lemonade did not do anything about the flavor. So I'm just hoping my oatmeal this morning is going to taste okay. I do still have a bottle of fresh water that I brought with me from Winchell that I've hardly used any of it, but if I'm going to be staying here all day, I want to kind of ration that too. So anyway, that's the situation. I'd like to get out of here today. Apart from the rain this morning, there's supposed to be winds coming up this afternoon with gusts up to 30 miles an hour. They're supposed to be out of the south, which is the absolute worst direction. And so I think if I can rely on the weather forecast, I think I'm pretty well stuck here. And of course I don't know what the campsite situation will be, whether those people that came in or if the other campers here on Vista are going to be staying today or moving on. So I don't know whether there'll be anything opening up. Have no idea what Misqua is like. Same situation there. If there's already somebody there, are they going to stay or are they going to go? And I hate to get a late start with that long portage, that bad portage ahead of me. That's going to take me a while to get over that. And again, I have no idea what the campsite situation is going to be on Little Trout when I get it done. So I really hate to leave late and find out I'm stuck continuing having to keep going. I hate to stay on this site too. I really hate to stay on this site. I was able to sleep, like I said, I was able to sleep comfortably, but having to spend the whole day here is not going to be pleasant. Well, oatmeal tastes okay despite the water. So some things are looking up. As you can hear, it's raining a little bit more now than it was. Still not a heavy rain, thankfully. There is one thing though, that if I were to move on today, of course that portage is going to be even tougher with the water on it. The wet patches are going to be wetter. All the rocks and the roots are going to be slippery.
I think I'm stuck here. No matter what happens. Not going to be a very fun day, but oh well. I'm out in the woods, right? I'm out in nature. I should be happy no matter what. I should be. I know I should be. I'm not slaving away in some, spending this day in an office somewhere, being bored out of my mind, or like some people, I'm not having to go out and work in this, building or doing whatever. I'm able to sit under here, under my tarp, breathe fresh air, rain cleansed air. Smell the cedars around me, other woodland smells. And yeah, even if I don't get to do anything fun, I should be happy. I should be happy. After breakfast this morning, we sat out underneath the tarp and snoozed a little bit until about 10:30 or so, when we had our mid-morning snack. Then we eventually retreated to the tent because it's so much warmer in here, warmer and drier. Yeah, it was dry under the tarp too, but definitely warmer in here, out of the wind, enclosed space, keeping our body heat a little bit. Slept until about 1:30 this afternoon, and then got up and had lunch, a late lunch obviously, my usual tuna wrap. Sat out for a little while, but it was just so chilly out there. Sun is trying to come out. It's pretty much stopped raining now, just dripping off the trees. But the wind is picking up. Actually, it's died down just now, but it has been pretty strong at times. Gusts up to 30 miles an hour apparently. So anyway, retreated back to the tent. And it's now just coming up on 3 o'clock. I think I'm going to skip my mid-afternoon snack. After all, I haven't been burning much in the way of calories, so why take any in? What I'll probably do is I'll start supper early tonight. Start supper about 4:30ish. Instead of waiting until 5 o'clock. And, oh, sleepers. Yeah, not much going on. Hasn't been much going on. There's just not much to do at this site anyway. And then when everything's all wet and everything, it's even worse. So, just thought I'd give you an update. I want to conserve my batteries a little bit, so I'll keep this brief. Well, hello guys. Where did my spoon go? Oh, that's right, in my pocket. It's about 5:30, so I'm not getting supper any earlier than I usually do. Tonight it's a Alpine Air meal. It's Leonardo da fettuccine. Leonardo da fettuccine. Creamy cheese and sour cream sauce with pasta, broccoli, and mushrooms. accented with garlic and onion. So we'll see how this goes. I know I've had this before because I can remember having a hard time pronouncing the name before. Fettuccine. Fettuccine, what's the problem? Fettuccine. I just gotta get into my Italian. Leonardo da Fettuccine. Gotta get into my Italian mode. Actually, it's not so much as it is. I can't remember how I rated it last time. Of course, having made it with swamp water doesn't help much. It's food. It's edible. It's mostly noodles. Only small traces of all the other ingredients I talked about. Oh well. Maybe getting a little bit better. Not on my favorites list. Definitely not on my favorites list. But it'll do. It's edible. We're getting peaks of sunshine every once in a while. An occasional peak. Still a lot of clouds. There's still a chance of rain. I decided it was just easier to stay set up underneath the tarp here than to move everything down to the kitchen area. So that's why I'm sitting here under the tarp. Too lazy to move everything. A lot of stuff to move. And a lot of it has to be back up here under the tarp anyway overnight, just in case it rains more, although it's not supposed to. Well, Sam's really liking that anyway. Sam likes anything. Boy, it's really gone calm. No wind out of here at all. If I knew that campsite was open on Misqua, I'd be tempted to pack up and head down there right after supper. I think what I'm going to try to remember to do in the morning is to leave my filter handy when I put out onto the water, and when I get out into the lake away from the swamp. Then I'll get some fresh water. Tonight I think the low's supposed to get down into the 40s. I can't remember how far down in the 40s. Tomorrow is actually supposed to be a high of about 70. but the winds are supposed to be get pretty bad. But that's okay, because Mesqua isn't a very big lake. I'm going to spend most of the day on a portage anyway. Little trout isn't all that big either. Bigger than Mesqua. I just hope I can find a campsite on little trout and don't have to move on. But if I do end up moving on, all those lakes are pretty small too, so I'm going to be spending a lot more time portaging between a bunch of little ponds. So, yeah, tomorrow's going to be more foot travel than it is going to be water travel once I get off Vista. And Vista is not all that huge either. I think I'll finish my supper here and quit yakking. Or Sam and I will finish my supper here. Hi, Sam. Say hi to your fans. It's 8:30. We're in the tent, all snuggled up in our respective sleeping things. Sam in his blanket, me in my 40-degree bag. Low tonight is supposed to be low to upper 40s. One day last week, I meant to mention this, but there was one day last week, I think it was the first morning on Winchell, that when I first checked the radio first thing in the morning, they were saying that the temperature at that time in Ely was 39 degrees. And we weathered that just fine. Of course, whether it got that, probably wasn't that low where we were, but still had to be in the low 40s anyway. So anyway, mid to upper 40s tonight. I'm in my 40-degree bag, so I shouldn't have a problem with that. Tomorrow, of course, it's on to little trout. Kind of little trout or bust tomorrow. And hopefully I don't have any problems getting across that portage. Any serious problems getting across that portage. And hopefully once I get to little trout, there'll actually be an open campsite. If not, then it's going to be a long slog to get to Ram, where the next campsite is available. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. It's supposed to be sunny with temperatures about 70 degrees or so, but it's supposed to be windy. So like I mentioned before, though, I'm going to be spending more time on land than on water, so the wind isn't going to bother me too much. Once I get to little trout and start trying to find a campsite, then that's when the major paddling's going to happen. So anyway, settle down, go to sleep tonight. Hopefully get a good night's sleep. Get up early in the morning and get going. So that's all I have for tonight. And talk to you later. See you tomorrow, at least tomorrow, my time.